Welcome or welcome back to day 69 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. Now I just got home from a tough run and I'm kind of drained, but we'll see what we can do today. Let me just go on ahead and readjust our camera a bit, because I see it's a bit too high today. I have a different height for the camera for when I for when I do the thumbnails and when I record the videos, because for the thumbnails I need a bit of space above my head for the text, and in the videos I don't want, if I crunch down a bit, for my chin to be out of frame. So let's just go on ahead and lower this a bit more, and there we go. This seems okay. Now let's just jump on ahead into our game and find an opponent today. We get a game immediately. Let's jump on ahead and play 1d4. We get Bexios from Italy. We'll go for this and see what our opponent does. We faced this a lot of times. We don't see it now though. I would like to go knight to c3 here to play for e4. And then we can have this kind of a pawn setup here, which we've had a couple of times and which has worked quite well. This should be likely here. e4. Let's just grab the center. And I'm expecting this kind of a configuration. Our opponent might be looking at a timely break here. I think knight to f3 should prevent this for now. They can't push here because takes, and this is no good, and this is no good. Let's come up here and see what they do. They castle. I think the main line here is bishop to e2, although a bishop to e3 might be good as well. Let's just go e2. It shouldn't matter all that much. Castles, bishop to e3. We might launch an assault here. We might delay castling and even go queenside. We get this, but now I think we can take. Takes, and takes. Well, let's have a look here. This is the logical move, but I want to see whether we win a pawn here or not. Takes. I can't quite see an argument for not taking here. Even this seems good. Just don't want to miss anything, but we have a lot of time. My brain is still not working from the run earlier on. Takes. We can obviously trade queens. And this, and what I was worried about here was this. Revealing an attack on our knight. Do we have an in-between move? Let's say we look at this first. If they take, we come here, but still they take here. Takes. I can't quite see a good argument here for playing into this line, because we don't win the pawn. So let's just grab the center here and see what they do. I hoped this worked, but it didn't quite, so we'll not opt for it. Although I might have missed something or miscalculated, but I did not see the concrete approach there. Bishop to e3 once again seems logical. We could aim for this bishop and pry away at the defenses of the king. This knight here, well, it could look to come in here, but Well, most likely that might be their idea, actually. I think we're still in the main line, or a main line, or at least a line. At some point we got into what's called a Gilgerich system. We just transposed. We had the Orthodox variation and the Petrosian variation, the Abruvak variation, and the Gilger. We've just transposed into every single imaginable line in 4 moves. Okay. Now, is this a... First of all, is it a blunder? Probably not. So then what do we do? This makes sense. Just dropping back because they threatened the bishop. I was looking at this move, but I didn't see a follow-up. They could even take here. So let's come back and then play h3 and kick the knight out. Okay. But this takes. This doesn't look ideal, to be honest. Might have misplayed ever so slightly, but this might still be good. What about this move? The queen slides over. This. I would expect the rook to come up. Or they could take with the pawn, but that's a bit weakening. So let's have a look at this first. This. If we kick the knight, do we have a concrete approach here? This might go back. Or maybe this takes. No, we still can't take here because the knight can take. How about this line? Takes. Or maybe it takes and takes here. We could get some activity with our knight. They would have to come back with their knight. This, and we take. So currently our opponent is posing loads of issues here. But that's what we like to see. We like a good challenge. I'm trying to see our best approach here. I'm honestly a bit convinced by this. But why? Let's see, this. Here, maybe that's not so good. Let's go h3 instead. I'm expecting takes, and then I think we take with our knight because this and this didn't seem to be ideal. So we'll go here, keep on blocking this pawn. We still have this at an opportune moment. I'll try to remember to come back to this position after the game here and see what the best move was. Even in this position here, I'm curious. We are apparently in the main line of the Petrosian variation of the King's Indian defense. But to be honest, we've been transposing into so much stuff here, I don't even know anymore. least we're covering some infiltration squares here, so the queen can't just come in. Is this a move at some point? Well, at some point it might be, but not now, because of the knight hanging. Still, we haven't committed our king, so we can still look at a queenside castle at some point. Although it's not typical in the King's Indian defense, I think. Usually we're supposed to castle here and create play on the queen side, while our opponent tries to attack us on the king side. But well, that's what happens in GM games. We're not quite GMs here. So our slight inaccuracies might cause the correct plan to be somewhat different. I was going to say this would have been a fun move to see, but we can't quite trap the queen because of this square. Anything could just come up here and defend. Let's calculate this again. Takes, and as I mentioned, I think we take here. Then the knight has to drop back. Oh, wow. Did I really miss something here? What's the follow-up? Surely this can't be good, right? I see this, right? But we take and they can't come in with a queen because of our knight, so what's the idea? Takes. Their only move here should be this, right? And then we take. This is defended. Yeah, I can't see their idea. This doesn't work. Let's take. I'm curious to see what they plan to do here. Takes. Oh, we are. Yeah, I'm seeing their plan. We are pinned here, so we can't take the queen, but still, what threat does the check pose? This, and I think we just go here, to be honest. You can walk all the way over, and I think this looks safe. Well, we have to take, or honestly, we might have this really awkward in-between move for our opponent. Let's see. If we come here, we kill off our piece, rather. No, let's just take. They will come here, we defend our knight. And then what do? They could come here, we move over, this is defended, this is defended. And honestly, our opponent might have blundered, because here the queen is hanging as well. I'm just seeing everything is protected. This might even be a move, but I can't quite see our concrete follow-up. Now this doesn't trap the queen because they take. I wanted to look for a really ominous trap, but I did not see a queen trap here. So let's just come up and defend. Now the queen is hit because this is no longer pinned. This might be a move, but we just slide over and I think we are safe. The king holds everything together like glue. As I mentioned, this might be a move, but we come here, and if they take, we take with the queen. So we keep our knight defended by the king. Takes here. We come and take with the bishop. and then this will hold stuff together. So I think our opponent might have blundered, but there might still be a great idea for an attack here, which I'm not seeing. Now, once again, the queen is hanging. If they take, we take the queen. So where does our opponent go? They can't come here, 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 here. The only safe square for the queen is here. But then I think if they go here, do we have this, trapping the queen and hitting it with the bishop? And then they come back. Let's try to calculate this. This, and to hit the queen, we might have this move. Is this a trap? I think it is. They can't go here, 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 or here. And they can't come back because of this knight. So this looks like a queen trap to me rather, and I'm quite optimistic here. But then they might have this in between move, taking away the knight and checking us. We take. Then here, are they trapped or not? Now they could come back. And then what happens if we come back with our bishop? I think this might renew the queen trap. Or they could come up here, I guess. But still we would be up material. This is looking quite optimistic, as we are already up a piece. Let's see what else could happen. Now, honestly, I think this is forced here. I don't see a move. Well, they could go here and just sack more material, but then there is no concrete approach here. This just seems to lose. This, and as I mentioned this, but let's see if we see something more winning, because I'm realizing we might have. Surely this has to be no good, right? This is a free queen in my eyes, and taking is pretty much forced. Their idea here could be to come in like this. Oh, wait a second. Is this the most ominous trap ever? Are we trapped here? No way this is a checkmate, right? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is incredible. We can't take here because we are in check. Let me re-examine this. This is no good. This is covered by the knight. This is covered by the rook. And this is covered by the bishop. So if we take the queen, we get checkmated. Wow. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think we might be forced to go to c3 here. I don't see an alternative. I just want to confirm this. Absolutely incredible. This is a really great find by our opponent. We can't go here, here, or here. No, we have to go to c3. Still, this is not lost, but this was a really great find by our opponent. This is not a move because of this. Now the knight can't check us. Do we have a queen trap here? Well, it's kind of running out of squares, but not really. I think maybe this move. But they take, which is a great move. Now we don't have queen traps. Maybe coming up with the queen and connecting our rooks. We have a few options here. This might be okay as well, but I don't want to open up ideas for the rook. So let's come up with the queen here, I think. And we could generate some threats of our own. And we'll take it from there. I'm just really dumbfounded still by the find by our opponent here. They could take our piece and we would have been checkmated in the middle of the board. The knight comes in. Does this come with a threat? This game is just bizarre to me, to be honest. Absolutely bizarre. Well, I'm seeing this, but then what? This can't be played because of... I think we might want to get rid of the queen here. And I think our best way of doing so is going here, perhaps. Then they could slide over. So maybe coming up here and taking away this move here, while maybe moving to the corner and keeping our king safe might be good. This makes sense to me. I don't want to go here because of this. But then we might have this move and the knight would be forced back, but we would have induced some weaknesses. But if we go here, 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 the knight goes back. Then maybe we could kick the queen as well. And this might be good, then we get our position back. Yeah, let's go for this, I think. I'm genuinely still absolutely dumbfounded by the move a couple of moves ago. This was a brilliancy by our opponent. Here and here. The alternative would be going here perhaps, or here, but then we get tempi and we could try to create something. discombobulate our pieces a bit, and maybe get our king to safety. They check us. Let's slide on over. Okay, so they go here. I'm trying to see our best approach here. Queen can't come here, 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 or here. Can't go here, or here, or here. So if we come up here, the queen has to go here. The queen trade will be forced, but the rook would come in. Do we want that? Oh, this opponent is posing so many problems for us. Maybe this is a move. But then the knight comes back here, I guess. And that's no good. I'll just play a move I'm seeing here that doesn't lose, and we trade off their powerful queen. So we don't spend all our time. Our opponent is likely to find this move. We'll see this, most likely. And it will be an annoying infiltration here, but we'll take it from here. Do we have to take? Most likely this is the best approach, I think. This will hit this, but we've got it defended. So we are currently down a pawn, and we have a slightly awkward position. But this is not quite the end of the world. I really don't like this knight outpost, but it can't do a whole lot on its own. This, and they still come over here, so we can't quite hit the knight. I'm looking at moves like this and trying to trade off some material after moving our knight. This is likely to be played, just doubling up. Then I think we drop back, and our bishop keeps us defended, so we can trade off both pairs of rooks. Then the bishop could come in, which might be annoying. We might play up here, trying to kick it out. And we will see what happens. Here we might even have this at some point, if they don't double rooks. Maybe followed by this, I'm not quite sure. There might be an argument at least for this, so our opponent never has an infiltration. Maybe we could delay this and... Oh, wait a second. This doesn't do anything yet, because they can't come here or here. So maybe this. The rook has to go back, and then we play this after kicking it out a bit. Once again, let's play quickly. If it comes back all the way here, we might be annoying. And play like this. And maybe try to reposition here. This, and if they trade, we get the file on advantageous terms. This is defended for now. I think this looks good. They trade. But now did I blunder this pawn is what I'm trying to... It might not quite be blundered, because we can always take this pawn in response. Let's say they play here. If we don't have a lot of moves here, we either block our bishop or we block our rook. So let's have a look here at A line. Let's say we try to win back a pawn. Now we get pinned, but we could come back here and defend ourselves like this. But I want to have a look at this first. But here they take, and then we have to move and we lose a piece. So I think our best approach here is pinning ourselves, which looks horrible, but we can always come and defend ourselves with a bishop to unpin ourselves. Or while the bishop is still defending this rook here at least. I would like to be able to play g4, but we'll see what happens here. This might be played immediately. Then I think we take and maybe just come back. Okay, the king defense. Now I think g4 is logical. So let's come up. Or maybe this looks good as well. Keeping the file and keeping this defended while remaneuvering, so we never get pinned. And this might allow us to come up here perhaps. I'm hoping this works. We are still down a pawn, but we'll try to see what we can do about that as we get into the end game here. The knight is a bit offside. We'll probably have to come back into the game like this, and maybe over here at some point. This is a move perhaps. I was looking here at this move, but I didn't quite see a concrete follow-up, although this might have been better. Now g5 is pushed. I think we'll play g4 ourselves to free this square and maybe get an infiltration and defend our pawn. Whenever they come here, I think we just trade. This looks like a good move to me. I think we have to take. Maybe they try to open up the bishop here, which looks like a good idea to me. Or they could try to just pry the position open. Now the bishop comes. So let's see what we can do about this. Here there is always this fork. so we have to be a bit careful. Our opponent is playing really well. It's fun to see here as we climb up the ladder how our opponents rather are getting stronger and stronger. I think I might have liked occupying this outpost here actually, is what I realized in hindsight. And then maybe getting our rook here for a target on d6. Because now their bishop can't quite hit us here. I'm looking at this move. Is it playable? It might be, and it does seem a bit annoying. We might have to drop back against this. I expect this to be an overextension though. Here, the rook could come and defend. Maybe we could walk over and take the pawn. We might have ideas like this. I think this was inaccurate at least. They do push the pawn, which is a nice find. I think bishop back here, hitting the pawn, and coming here seems logical. I don't quite want to come back like this, so let's drop back here. This, and as I mentioned, we come back here. Our opponent defends like this. As I mentioned, I think we have to cover. I think we always have this idea. I can't quite calculate this in time. I'm hoping this is good here. It looks okay, coming on over and trying to hit this. I think our next move is here and not here, because I don't think this looks ideal. The knight can't quite join in on the action, I think. We have half a minute left. At least this here is helping us centralize. I think we take, go here, and hit the pawn. They will take, we will come here. And this looks good to me. This is no good. This does nothing. If they hit a rook, we just take. I think we just won a pawn, although I might be wrong. Okay, so what can we do from here? Let's see. We could drop the king back and force the bishop here, and maybe come here to force the king from coming back and develop our knight. I don't quite like dropping our king back in the endgame, but this forces a defensive move like this, and I think that looks okay. So we don't have the bishop annoying us in our back. Now this might even trap the bishop. I think it does. Then they have this though. And that doesn't look ideal, so instead let's come up with the knight. Our opponent might come here, aiming for this. They don't though. I think we could go here. And we should get a passed pawn. Takes and takes, and I think this might be more of an asset than a weakness. let's come up with our king. Takes. And we can get up here. Their king just walks up unafraid. I think I might have blundered this idea. But maybe we just take and force their king to take. We'll get up here, I guess, and try for infiltration. Our knight here hits a lot of stuff at least. If we get here, this sucks to play. I think we pick up the pawn here. I don't see a better move. If the king comes here, let's have a look. It comes back here. Maybe we go here. I think we have to go back either way. This will happen. But now we get rid of our pawns on light squares, which is good because our opponent's bishop can't do as much then. Here I think I like this idea, but I like this as well, hitting this pawn. If they go here, how do we hit this? Maybe this maneuver? Takes. I think we might have to come up here first, so we make sure our opponent's king can't quite escort this pawn down the board. But is this a move now? Oh wow, it might be. Yeah, this is probably a blunder by me. Oh, this is unfortunate. Might have wasted important tempo. Now they can come here and defend, but our opponent comes this way. I think they might want to push the pawn. Can we come here and try to get in front of the pawn by hitting the bishop? I think so. No, maybe push. Can they push? I think this is good. It looks okay at least, as long as we stay on the dark squares. I might be mistaken. I really hope I'm not. This, and we go here. If they go here, let's have a look. I think we might have to come back like this. They will go here. Oh yeah, this sucks. This really oh, no. We go here. And they can never promote. Now we'll take this pawn. The bishop can't hit us, the king can't hit us, and the pawn cannot come to g1. Now this is a guaranteed pawn for us, and I think we might even be winning. I think worst case, we are probably even. This should be our next move, no matter what. Their king might want to come over here. I think we just pick up the pawn on the way. Now our ideal square, maybe it's here. This might be good to play this and take like this while centralizing our knight. And we could create our own passed pawn threat. And well, we might even come over here and try to pick up this pawn. Maybe we can't go here or here, so it might be a long remaneuvering process, but we do have the moves, I think. We have the tempo to play like this. Here, takes, and we have this untargetable pawn. Now we have this, though. I think I prefer this. We'll see this. We'll come back around, maybe try to force something here. We'll see. Our opponent offers a draw here. This might be a draw, but I think we might have playing chances. Depending on how our opponent plays, they could try to trade off our pawn for their bishop at some point, but if we keep it on a dark square and maybe block it in an opportune moment, we might be good. So let's see how our ideal configuration might be. I think what I would like to prefer here is maybe coming down to e3, for example, with our knight, keeping the threat on this pawn, and then maybe walking our pawn up meanwhile. Or in the meantime, rather. We could get a configuration where we try to advance our pawn onto a light square while our knight intercepts. Here, I'm expecting the bishop to come back here. It goes there. Okay, I think this might be a good thing for us to see, is now we can get to b6. Let's see, how do we do this? Maybe we have this. I think I'd like to, no, we can't take the pawn. Maybe coming over here. What happens here then? We might be forced back, so this might not be ideal. Yeah, this might just be a draw, as our opponent tried to offer. So let's, yeah, this pawn is going to fall, then we come over with our knight, and trade like this. Yeah, it seems like today is a draw. They will take, and we will take the pawn, and we both have insufficient material. Well, either way, I think it was instructive to play out this draw. So I don't quite mind. Thanks for the game. Our opponent played really well, and I'm curious to see what the best approach was here. because I think we made some mistakes. Well, the analysis does say so here as well, but let's just jump ahead into the game. We played with 81.2 today, and our opponent played with 79.6, and they had 2 brilliant moves. Incredible. I see we had loads of inaccuracies and blunders, etc. here, so did our opponent, but this was the kind of game where that made sense. The opening had a brilliant marker 99.9, and we played with 90.1. So it seems we played better later on, and they played better in the opening, which makes sense to me. Let's see here. This was all normal. Theory moves. I just want to make sure this didn't work. Well, it did work apparently, but it was just a simplification into an endgame where we didn't quite have an ideal edge. This was what I looked at here, but this was, yeah, trading was not ideal for us because of this, as I mentioned. We would have had to take, and they would have taken, and it would have just been a mass simplification. Instead, we pushed, grabbed the center space, went up like this. This was apparently theory. This wasn't a theory response, though. Was this maybe the best move? Yeah. I looked at this, considered it. I didn't quite see the concrete approach. What happens after f6? I guess we change diagonals, or we go all the way back. Well, this seems interesting though. Well, we went back here, and this was our blunder. Their first brilliant move. What was our move here? E takes was the best move. Our alternative was knight to g5. Maybe looking for this. What is their defense here? Knight to c5. Defending this. And if we dislodge the knight, f takes here. And this is a brilliancy here as well. And this loses because of this fork, I guess, yeah. And this was a really fun game. I'm just seeing brilliances everywhere, like this. They took, we took. This was inaccurate even. King to g1 was best? Really? But what about this? Oh. I would not have played this. I don't like sacking pieces. Well, honestly, it wasn't quite a sack because we had already lost, or won a piece rather, so it would have given the material back. This was just incredible though. This was an inaccuracy. This was best. Well, those were all good moves, to be honest. H to f1 was best. Wrong rook. As everyone knows, you pick a rook and it's always going to be the other one. That's correct. We went up here. Good, great, great. This was not ideal. The best move here was e6. I didn't quite like this because I thought this looked a bit awkward. Now I think we just lose a pawn, right? If we get this, oh, okay, this makes sense. I didn't see this, but they have a defended passed pawn as well, so this is... It's not quite clear, to be honest. At least I don't think so. We went back like this. Our opponent did not spot the best move, which was takes here. Why is this best? They just hit the rook. Yeah, okay. I didn't spot this for some bizarre reason. That's probably why knight to e6 was better, so they can't take and hit our rook. We went back here, defended like this. This was an inaccuracy. Here I thought this might be our best idea. It wasn't, but I thought maybe this is how we apply pressure. Our best plan here was b5. Oh, this doesn't work, I realized. Because this is defended by the knight still. We went here, this was no good, this was no good, and this is where the blunders and mistakes and all the unfortunate stuff happened. But we did have a lead. What was our move here? I might have just not calculated far enough, but we didn't have a lot of time here. I thought this was good for them. Apparently this wins. Why? Really? But what now? Oh, we threatened to take with the pawn. And then the bishop is trapped. Well, that's too far-fetched of a maneuver to find, I think, with 30 seconds. Although it's unfortunate we had a win and didn't find it. This was still okay, I think. Once again, we had a win. 2 wins. Wow. c6. If d5, knight to e5. Oh my god. Sacking the knight to get a queen. And if they come in here, we have this, which is apparently just completely winning. Okay, sure. I can see how it makes some sense at least. Here we had this, which was good as well. It's a bit unfortunate I didn't see this, but I didn't see the follow-up here. But then we just get a queen with another brilliancy. This is incredible. I thought we might have had a good endgame here. We were winning. We just had to play slightly differently. I didn't see our approach here though. Knight to e6. Oh, when we pick up this pawn. Ah, of course. This makes a lot of sense. Once they take, we win this, and it's a check. They take. We come back, and now we can hit their stuff here, and our king is closer. I see we both made loads of inaccuracies during this endgame. This was not best either. This was just losing the game even. Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate. We would have queened. Still, we were lost. But we got this once again. I thought here this might look scary. But our best move was this, and they can't push. And we have a standoff. Okay, but we went like this. Did we ever have a winning position again? No, this was just... Yeah, I'm seeing zeros. And we ended the game here. Well, that's our game for today, guys. This was really fun. We got brilliances galore. Thanks a lot once again, Backloss, for the game. Thanks to the viewers for watching to the end of the video. This has been our game for today, guys, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.